Coming up on The Arts Connection.
We visit the Atlantic Center for the Arts for a look at the Artist in Residence program. Plus, what does it take to bring a Disney production to the stage? Well, we learn from the Disney producer who wrote the book on the topic.
It's quite a carnival backstage. Plus, there's scenery, there's prop men, there's wardrobe people, people being stitched into their costume, people with ice packs on because they just got hurt on stage. It's pandemonium backstage.
And how one woman turns family photos into works of art.
It's extremely touching that they are entrusting me to create these things for them.
All that and more just ahead on The Arts Connection.
The Arts Connection is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to WMFE from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to The Arts Connection, your program about all things creative here in Central Florida. I'm Secily Wilson, and this week we're joining you from the Atlantic Center for the Arts in New Smyrna Beach. We're surrounded by 69 acres of secluded natural environment. It provides a haven for artists and many disciplines to come together in a residency program.
Now, it's not so much about performing here, but a chance for artists to share ideas with each other.
We'll meet the director of the program and learn about some of the artists who are currently here in just a bit. But first, have you ever wanted to know more about the theater? Where's stage right, stage left? How do the actors change their costumes so quickly? Well, a man who knows how to make the stage come alive is telling everything you want to know.
This is the king of all kings on stage. If you didn't know, this is the musical phenomenon, The Lion King. Since its premiere over a decade ago, it's been seen by over 45 million people worldwide. But what they don't see is what goes on behind the stage.
But backstage, there's almost no room at all. And every time the cast runs off stage or something joyful's happening, they're all crammed into a tiny little space, frantically changing their clothes. It's quite a carnival backstage. Plus, there's scenery, there's prop men, there's wardrobe people, people being stitched into their costume, people with ice packs on because they just got hurt on stage. It's pandemonium backstage.
Even with all that drama, the show must go on. But how? Thomas Schumacher, award-winning producer of Disney stage musicals like
Tarzan, Mary Poppins, Lion King, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aida,
answers that question in his new book, How Does the Show Go On? An Introduction to the Theater.
Well, I'm one of those kids who grew up loving the theater and wanting to be part of the theater and wanting to be in plays and be backstage and even just be in the audience. And so I wrote the book that I wanted to have when I was a kid. For kids, it's not a how-to book, it's a how is it done book.
At a recent book signing at Disney World, which is where he crafted his skills, kids young and old alike.
Nice to meet you, Elizabeth Dean.
Nice to meet you too.
Got the chance to meet and pick the brain of the man who some say is an American icon in the world of theater.
Just to look at what they've been able to do. Yeah, we fell in love with the movies as children, and now we get to see them live. The book is going to introduce theater to so many different types of people who may not have had the chance, or people like me who just love it.
Just flipping through it, I haven't even really got to read it. Just looking at it, it's just this ridiculously well-crafted book that has so much information that I think I'll probably actually learn things that I didn't even know before.
Like how to read your ticket.
This ticket envelope, this is important to me because when you think about what's a ticket, to hold a ticket in your hand and know that that's your invitation in. But if you're a kid, you don't know what a seat number is or a row is or, what aisle you should go down. And by putting this in here, and of course we have, a seating chart, you could actually find your seat on the seating chart.
Or the reason why playwright is spelled funny.
I'm glad. I always like it when somebody asks me, why is playwright spelled P-L-A-Y-W-R-I-G-H-T? It's not W-R-I-T-E. It's playwright because plays are not written, they're wrought. Just like a boatwright makes a boat, they're hammered and bent and heated and shaped into being, and like a play is.
And like his hit play, Schumacher has created his book with just as much passion, art, and detail.
And there's the props. Who made them? What do they do? Who is the prop man? Who's the head carpenter? What's an electrician? All those sort of things inside the theater. I wanted to sort of talk about and share that with a young reader, and that's what the book's about.
Page
This playbill is a genuine playbill from opening night.
after page
These are sketches by Julie Taymor of The Lion King. So in it, we can look at these original sketches from the show.
after page.
And finally, this woman calls and says, "Tommy Schumacher, do you remember me? I'm Barbara Squire." And it's the lady who played Dolly in my production of Hello, Dolly when I was a little boy.
Schumacher sat down with me and went back to his childhood, to his days in summer stock theater. It was then he realized his destiny.
And then I looked around and realized there were so many actors on stage that were better than me, or people that were kind of like me. And I thought, ooh, I don't want to be kind of mediocre. And I walked off the stage after my closing night in the great Stephen Schwartz musical Pippin. I was playing the lead, Pippin. And I walked off stage and said, I'm never going to act again. I'm just not good enough. And I knew that day I was going to go try to be a producer, and that's what happened.
Schumacher admits he had no idea the arts were in his future.
Back when I went to UCLA to go to college, I actually went intending to be a psychology major, thinking it was pointless to try to go get a degree in theater. I'd never be able to do anything.
He couldn't have been more wrong. His job today of running Disney on Broadway plays a major part in his circle of life.
I went to theater school, learned my craft, met people, and they helped me get work, and it all came together. And then the missing piece for anybody else is this huge thing that happened for me at the Walt Disney Company 20 years ago, which was being invited into the Disney family to make a movie called The Rescuers Down Under. I came in here as a theater guy, made a movie, worked on some TV things, and now I'm back in the theater again.
Like a king, reigning supreme and taking center stage with a new project that leaves no page unturned.
An amazing amount of information in a creative form, of course. You can learn more by logging on to our website. Well, up next, an Orlando artist who made a career for herself by making art out of family photos, but they're not her own family photos. Kristen Kenney caught up with her in her Orange County home, and now it's time for you to meet her.
I've always done collage. I've done collage exclusively since college, so more than 10 years. Something about using people's faces.
Faces of children, couples, families, and even pets have always been the focal point of artist Claudine Helmuth's collages.
I always work with the heads in black and white because I think that takes them out of reality just a little bit, and also adds, I like my work to have a little bit of a retro feel.
When she started out 10 years ago, they were just pictures of strangers, until a fellow design student gave her a great idea.
One of my workshop students wanted me to do ones of her kids, and she said, well, could you do some custom ones with my kids' heads? And I don't know why, but I'd never thought of it.
Since then, she's made a name for herself, making one-of-a-kind works of art, turning family photos into unique keepsakes. Her collage work became such a hit, it even gained the attention of HGTV and the Martha Stewart Show.
Yeah, I made one for Martha Stewart in the hopes that she would like it and maybe put it in one of her houses. I really enjoyed figuring out the theme and working with the client on what they really envisioned the piece to be like, and to reflect their personality and what will go in their home and things like that.
Like the Williams family of Winter Park, who asked Claudine to make something fun from their family snapshots.
A lot of pictures in our house of our kids, but the one thing that gets the most comments when we have guests is the collage, because it's so unique, and just the way that she kind of got everyone's personality.
And she captures their personalities in her own style, all done by hand with some scrap paper, fabrics, scissors, and paint.
I like to look at a lot of retro 50s advertisements, the way that they utilize color and the off-register look, where the print doesn't quite match up with the line work on top. I really like. I also like to look at a lot of folk art for the use of color. So I like to mix a lot of different inspirations together. That way, nothing becomes derivative.
Each work also tells its own story, unique to the family who commissioned it.
I've done people riding in little Mercedes with their little Yorkshire Terriers, and
so really capturing their stories and their lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, and their little family members, whether their family members are pets only or children, and where they vacation, if it's at the beach. There's a couple families actually that have adopted children. One of them wanted to symbolize the adoption of bringing the child back from China, and I depicted them in a vintage airplane coming back with their child.
Since Claudine spends every day creating custom artwork for others, you might think it hinders her creativity, but she enjoys the challenge of balancing her artistic impulse with what her patrons want.
The topic that they give me a lot of times is definitely something that I wouldn't think of on my own. I gravitate more to feminine themes of beauty parlors and cooking and things like that. So things that I never would have probably tried if I had just been sitting around my studio brainstorming.
And as much as the theme varies from client to client, there are some things that never change.
Everything begins with the photo, of course.
A photo she turns into more than just a collage.
It's extremely touching that they are entrusting me to create these things for them, and it's just wonderful. It's such a thrill. I thought you would look gorgeous riding on a Vespa, so that was my inspiration. Yes.
Look, it's me on a Vespa. It's so cute.
How fun and creative is that? Certainly you can learn more by logging on to our website. Again, we're visiting this week the Atlantic Center for the Arts in New Smyrna Beach, and there are exhibitions and classes here, but what really sets it apart is its residency program. Joining me now is Ann Brady to tell us more, and Ann, we're inside the main gallery where there's a permanent exhibit of artists that have been here in the past. Tell us more about that.
We're in the Jack Mitchell Portrait Gallery in our new Pabst Visitor Center and Gallery, and there are 180 portraits of former master artists who've been in residence over the years, out of a total of about 300.
So let's talk about that residency program. This is your claim to fame.
It is. We were founded in 1977 by Doris Leeper, a visual artist, who wanted to give artists from different disciplines the opportunity to work in a creative setting, as well as interact and perhaps even collaborate.
So who are some of the artists here currently, and what are they working on?
Right now we have 3 different master artists, as well as the associates with whom they're working over the 3-week period. The disciplines represented are dance choreography, visual arts, and music composition.
Who are the master artists?
Mark Dion, visual artist, Susan Marshall, dancer, choreographer, and David Lang, composer, who the week before he came for the residency found out that he had won the Pulitzer Prize in music.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And do they mix and mingle their art forms together?
They do. They actually meet as a group within their discipline for a few hours each day, and then the rest of the time they have to work on their own projects, to interact with one another, and again, perhaps even to collaborate.
Now, when we think about these artists, are they invited in? Is there a wait list? How do they get in?
The master artists are invited by us, and we have a national council that is our artistic advisory board. The associates, the artists who work with the masters, are actually selected by the master artists, and each master curates his or her own residency.
So does the public get a chance to see their work?
They do. Now, keep in mind that it's a 3-week residency, so often there's not a lot of final product that's produced, but we do invite the public to visit the master artists at the outreaches that they do throughout Central Florida, as well as at the end of the residency. We always provide a works in progress presentation.
It's so peaceful here. I think we should just hang out for a while.
Well, we're on 69 acres of beautiful Florida wetlands, surrounded by 2,200 acres, and it is very peaceful and beautiful.
A lot of energy to work on your creative spirit here, right? Well, thank you, Anne, so very much. And of course, you can learn more about the Atlantic Center for the Arts by logging on to our website. Well, still ahead, graffiti. Is it art or vandalism? You be the judge. But first, let's take a look at what's going on around Central Florida. Enjoy the sweet sounds of Billie Holiday and Patsy Cline with two performances now playing at the Ice House Theater. The Mount Dora Theater Company presents A Little Moonlight. Jacqueline Jones celebrates Billie Holiday. And on alternating nights, always Patsy Cline. Call the box office at 352-383-4616 or visit icehousetheater.com for more information. And don't miss the chance to see the Charles M. Russell Master of Western Art exhibit, now showing at the Alvin Polaschek Museum and Sculpture Gardens through June 8th. You can find out more about this Western Masters showcase by calling 407-647-6294 or by visiting polaschek.org. And there will be a special ceremony at the Jewish Community Center Sunday, May 4th to honor Holocaust Remembrance Day. Call 407-628-0555 or visit holocaustedu.org for a complete listing of speakers. And finally, catch the 6th annual Orlando Cabaret Festival at Mad Cow Theater with over 40 evening and lunchtime performances May 1st through the 18th. You'll find everything from pop to jazz, something for everyone. And the tickets start at just $12. Visit OrlandoCabaret.com for your tickets to this unique event. Want more? Visit WMFE.org/arts for links to all these events and a chance to send us your ideas. Graffiti. It's something that can be seen almost every day on walls or buildings in urban settings. In fact, there was a recent graffiti conference in Orlando that's set to attract graffiti artists from around the world. Well, we caught up with a few of them who have found a legal way to work on their craft. Graffiti. Art. Graffiti. Art. It's been debated for years, and it's been around for centuries. Seemingly since the beginning of time, people have been reading the writing on the wall.
The real essence of graffiti, the thought of graffiti, started during the Roman times.
And its latest page in history has brought it here.
It's art. It's like, just look at it. I mean, it's not your conventional art. That's why they pretty much have mixed feelings about it.
Noel Valaruba, who also goes by the street name or tag name No Skills, is an Orlando graffiti artist. He's been painting for 25 years.
I paint all day, every day if you let me. Every day. But it gets a little expensive. It does.
He knows that many think of graffiti as a nuisance, vandalism, a criminal offense punishable by law, but stands firm that this art has artistic merit, especially when you have a legal place to be creative. There are no tracing, there's no...
That's cheating. No tracing, no straight line, no, you can't use a straight edge. Everything has to be done with the can. You don't get any props. Like, you don't get any respect if they know that you're coming out and you're stenciling. Now, you have stencil artists that they do that, but they're not considered graffiti artists.
Most graffiti artists have no formal art training. Each mural or piece is painted from a picture or from memory.
I give more credit to people that just learn it on their own, because it's harder. You have nobody to show you anything. It's like you're creating yourself. You're teaching yourself.
David Cruz, aka Psycho, was in the 2nd grade when his neighbor introduced him to graffiti.
He's like, look, this is how you do it. And he started showing me how to do electricity and like trains and what a tag name was and how to put colors together. Once I learned how to mix colors, it's over. That's it. I fell in love with it. It's done. That's it.
Concrete, wood, and metal are these artists' canvases. Their brushes are cans of spray paint.
Straight spray paint. No paintbrush. The only time we use regular paint is when we prime the wall. That's the only time. Everything else you see there is spray paint.
The colors vibrant, the characters cartoonish, the lines exact. How does it happen? Well, they say it's all in the cap and in can control.
Like all the black. We'll use either a medium or a fat cap, which the fat cap will spray like maybe that wide. So that way you can get an even coat. And when you come into the details, like the buildings and the outlines and stuff like that, we use a fine line cap. It's a thin cap. And depending on, and then what's weird is that the faster you go with the can, the thinner the line.
You're not gonna pick up the can and be able to do a straight line, and you have to do a couple of pieces, learn how to hold a can, how to move it to the side, to fade it out, like what I'm doing right now, trying to fade out all this black. I'll throw one color on and then I'll come near it with the next color like this. And that's how I get really, really thin lines like that.
Over the years, graffiti has grown in style and artistic quality. It's been used to communicate social and political messages. Just ask Robin Van Arsdal. He owns RV Studios on Central Avenue in downtown Orlando and has a long history with graffiti.
Well, you have to remember that I did 5,000 pieces on the streets of New York City that were 100% illegal. But my images are social images. I'm against things like war. I'm against all plutonium. I'm against anything that's nuclear in any way. And so I would do huge, gigantic nuclear landscapes, put crosses all over the front of it, and then write, die now, die today, die forever.
That was then. Now his work is legal, and he's also providing space for other artists to do the art, not the crime.
Here it's legal. Anywhere else you go across the street and paint on that wall, it's illegal. You've got 6 places in town and over 1,000 running feet of wall space here on my property to paint any day you want. To me, it's trying to promote the positive aspect of our aerosol art as opposed to making it illegal and making everybody be a vandal. This is art.
It's a showcase. You showcase your art, you know, and the recognition and the little street fame that you get and stuff like that is awesome.
Our art, you know, even whether people like it or not, at the end of the day, I'm satisfied doing. I created something for me that I love enjoying. It's like a stress reliever.
They dream their work will one day be on the walls of a gallery. For now, their studio is this wall on Central Avenue.
This is like an underground art. You know, it's something that you'd definitely be proud of.
And there's no debating that art is a form of expression. For Psycho and No Skills, they say their graffiti here is a way of expressing themselves to the public legally without saying a word.
Of course, illegal graffiti can be very costly for everyone involved. The number's in the millions in terms of dollars it takes to remove or police it. And of course, law enforcement officials say graffiti is illegal when it's sprayed where it's not invited. We're switching gears to an art form where there is little debate, the art of making chocolate. Kristen Kenney found this sweet craft in a little shop tucked away in the quaint streets along Baldwin Park.
Welcome to Ferris & Foster's Chocolate Factory. This is where we make almost everything you see right here in the very front. We're going to make it right here in the back.
Meet Foster.
The Department of Health requires that I wear a hat or something to restrain my hair from getting in the chocolate. So here's one of my hats that I wear. They say nothing about feathers.
And Terry.
I'm always looking for something new to put chocolate in.
The Willy Wonkas of this chocolate factory in the heart of Baldwin Park.
That's right, I'm the chocolate grandma. I win, I'm the most popular.
A husband and wife who combined their love for candy with veteran chocolatier Ferris Rigsby and started their own line of chocolate candy 6 years ago.
We've been entrepreneurs our whole married lives. And when Ferris came to us and said, would you like to learn chocolate? Okay, you know, it's very seductive. Chocolate's very seductive, and it had a great appeal to us.
Soon after the factory was up and running, Ferris took a back seat, leaving it in the hands of Foster and Terry. And I got a chance to follow them around the factory for the day. Chocolate-covered Oreos, strawberries, and even potato chips. That's right, you name it, they make it.
One lady asked me one time to put some dark chocolate on some Cheetos, so I thought, okay, and went ahead and did and ran that for her and tasted it at the end. It was pretty tasty.
And for the past 2 years, 2 of their chocolate confections have snagged the annual Best of Winter Park Taste Awards. White raspberry truffle and triple chocolate caramel popcorn.
These are great. These are award-winning chocolates.
And this is only a taste of what's in store. It's their recipe for fun that sets these chocolatiers apart from others, a recipe they created in 2003.
I decided that there's got to be something different about our chocolate factory that makes us different from anybody else.
So they added parties to their repertoire, parties where chocoholics like myself can learn how to cook up their own confections every night while singing and dancing to their favorite tunes.
We're going to turn on some music. We're going to have a great time. And you can sing with, if you like to. You can dance, just not on top of the tables.
It's kind of like an art class. You get to be inventive, but instead of working with tubes of paint, your medium is chocolate and a palette of delicious snacks.
You can be very creative in what you're going to put in it and try to think of something nobody's ever done before.
So what do you put in inside here? What's your selection? Strawberry cream, and then I put a raspberry cream, and then a chocolate. Lots of chocolate.
And blending chocolate with parties proved to be the perfect mix. In only 6 years, this mom-and-pop chocolate shop has turned into a booming business as 8,000 people rush in each year for their famous chocolate parties, which means that every night is slammed.
Everybody loves it. From little kids, the youngest we've had is 3 years old, and up to we had a chocolate birthday party for a 93-year-old lady.
And for Foster and Terry, it's a taste they never get tired of.
People keep saying we'll get tired of it, but it's been 6 years now, and so far I probably eat chocolate just about every day. I try to limit it somewhat. My husband can eat it all day long.
Just want to make sure it's still good. Oh yeah.
Well, that wraps it for us here on The Arts Connection. We certainly hope you have enjoyed our program. Thanks for joining us here at the Atlantic Center for the Arts in New Smyrna Beach. Don't forget to check us out on the web at wmfe.org/arts. You can view our podcast there, send us your ideas, or get information about any of the stories that you've just seen. And don't forget Becky Morgan on the radio, 90.7 FM for the Arts Connection radio program. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Join me next time when we explore Orlando's connections to the world of Tupperware, as told through a new book by local newsman Bob Keeling.
They were just like you and me. It's just they found this product and they came up with a unique and revolutionary way to sell it, and they made it an international phenomenon.
And we learned the secret to becoming an art collector. All that and more coming up Thursday on The Arts Connection.